All right, I'm going to try my hand at something that I think is just a little bit interesting here. A Honda E, which of course is not available for sale in the United States, but I genuinely would love to own. Just a light little front-wheel drive city car. There's a good visual of one there. Probably four doors. Good enough size back seat. It's like a EV Honda Fit or Jazz in the foreign market. Um, I only have one tire compound here. They're EVs. I don't know. I'm gonna boost it up just because I don't think the weight is gonna matter on an electric vehicle. The interior on this is very interesting to me, but I've never driven one, and I don't know how this is going to go. Really? Oh, yep, it's got that EV torque. It's only one gear, but we're on Monaco, so this thing's gonna either drive like a go-kart or be a little bit of a nightmare. These are all identical, so we are at the mercy of the track and the drivers. A lot of wind noise for an EV. I guess it is a budget car, but see, I just think they're cute. They're such neat little cars. Am I saying, everyone in the US should have an EV? No, obviously not. And am I saying that Honda should sell these in the US? I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would get the traction that they get overseas. But I think personally, if someone said, "Hey, man, here's like a federal EV tax credit and an electric go-kart," I'd go, I can't say no to that. That sounds fun. Dynamic? No, of course not. Sporty? I would be very reluctant to call a tiny Honda sporty. I'm gonna get in here and just... Oh, don't tap my bumper. I realize I cut it, but... Ooh. Yeah. So they're not combustion cars, and they only have one gear. Meaning, there's no more torque to get out of shifting. We're just at the mercy of what the car wants to do. It puts down power fairly well. 75 miles an hour in a sweeping corner. 80. They hit 85 going downhill. I do want to brake though. Could have been 85. I wasn't really counting. Quick enough. I'll call them quick enough. I think if you were to try to sell this in the US, American drivers would be rather disappointed by a lack of power in these things. But as a city car, or even as like a you know what you're getting into type of vehicle, no one buys no one buys a base model. Whoa, don't tap me. No one buys a plain Jane Honda Civic and expects it to be quick. Or back when they sold the Fit, I know it's being discontinued, but the Honda Fit, despite its cult following, is not a fast car, right? So I think the Honda E, DRS flag, that'd be cute. Honda E, I think it would sell. I think some people would be excited to see something like this. Just looking at the infotainment, like that's YouTube, that's Spotify. These things could have, like a lot of companies are going toward a Google-based infotainment software. Oop, little understeer too. I think it could be interesting, put some Apple CarPlay in this, and maybe this be the upscale interior. You got wood trim. I like the physical buttons and dials for some of the more essential things. You see HVAC and radio down below. Let's see a little dirty in this corner. No, not really, because then I just come out the other side. I think it'd be neat. I think this could be a nice upscale interior, and then maybe on a lower trim, you've got like a plastic handrest bar there, and maybe only a single smaller screen. Really tossing it into these corners. I might have to focus a little, but I don't think I'm going to. Bring it around, bring it around, bring it around. Push, 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 push. Come on. Gosh. We all hate the hairpin here. I see a wheel like there's more than one person. Oh. Understeer machine kicked in. I don't know if I've got front aero damage. I don't know if it would matter if I got front aero damage. That was not a happy corner. It's only lap 2, so I gotta not do that again, and hopefully not damage cars. because if I mess up the suspension on this thing, especially with the EV understeering, a little bit of EV torque that it has, like that could ruin my day. Sir, or ma'am, I won't assume anything. We're gonna push through and see if I can get under this. I can make a pass stick on a fast corner here. I don't think I have enough corner, but now why would you do that? I left room. I hugged it as tight as I could. This guy's the problem and not me. It's always how it goes. Gosh, this is not a bumper car. A lot of understeer though. That's this thing's biggest downside. You get the weight of an EV with a really short wheelbase and not a whole lot of performance coming out of it. Oh, and then when you do get it stopped, you know, there's not a whole lot of torque. It's interesting that they tune this not necessarily for that big EV like jolt of torque, but or at least this model. It's not tuned for like an EV jolt of torque. It seems to be tuned more for easy driving experience. And I can respect that from a manufacturer standpoint. They don't want to advertise this thing as sporty. They don't want things braking due to the torque. It's a budget car. It's meant to be affordable, good enough to get around. I think the one thing that would scare and arguably deter American buyers more than the size, I mean performance-wise, I'd venture would be the range of these. Car this small, it's not going to fit that big of a battery. We don't have solid states yet. You can't see my hand, I'm raising my finger. Not having solid state batteries yet means I can only fit so much, so many lithium cells into this car, purely for the constraints of size. Then you get into a power to weight issue where you've got, oh, that was a weird way to take that corner. You've got functionally like Econobox levels torque and power trying to pull something the size of, you know, the standard American compact SUV. It drives well. I don't dislike it. It does lack performance. I'm not going to say it needs to be a sports car. I don't think it's too slow. It just, you know, everything could benefit from a little more power. It's the American way of thinking, and the, I guess, car enthusiast way of looking at everything. I'm not mad at it though. Like, I think I can brake a little because this thing likes understeering. I think if it had a touch more torque, just to make it a little more interesting coming off the line, and then do the typical EV thing where all the power tapers off. Don't cut there. That's fine. Don't touch the wall. Do the typical EV thing where got quite a bit of torque up front, and then all the power tapers off. But I don't think anyone would be too upset at that, because it's practical, right? And especially in city driving, or the kind of commuting that a lot of Americans do, where it's stoplights and then highways, or vice versa. Some, you know, stoplights and highways are, I'll say, the predominant air quote obstacle in an American commute. Little bit of torque to get you up to the speed limit would be welcome, and because I'm, you know, obviously mashing the pedal, and I know I'm going uphill here, but if I were coming from a dead stop and had to get it to 45 fairly quickly, I think I'd be a little annoyed at this. The digital mirrors are cool, but I don't think they're legal in the U.S. Oh, every time this corner. Over the way. Yes, so I think just a little more torque to get up to American speed limits would be welcome. And then you could do the typical taper off thing where, you know, once you get to the highway, you're doing 70 miles an hour. And sure, that'll drain your battery a little faster, but if you reduce the amount of torque that it puts out at that kind of speed, it could be very, very easy to hold this thing at highway speeds. I know the range is going to be lower than what Americans expect out of their EVs, but if you can get, say, an EPA estimated, oh, I want this pass, you can get an EPA estimated, I don't know, 150 miles of range, 200 miles of range out of a base model, I think would be fantastic. But Americans are obsessed with that magical 300. Even if this car had the space to fit enough battery cells, late break. Okay. Oh. the understeer on that. I think even if this thing had the physical body and chassis space to fit more, fit like a Honda, fit more battery cells, I would almost prefer that it have fewer, if I can say that. Like, if you could get the base model to 200 and then maybe come out with a long-range version. Tried to string together the chicane, and I think I angled that first corner a little wrong. Come on. Still no steering damage. We're turning well. I don't know. I've said it before, and this is just me getting on a soapbox, but I think the number of people in the United States especially that expect more range out of an EV are in their own way hurting other aspects of an EV. So if you say it must have 300 miles of range, people aren't driving 300 miles. And I know a lot of cars, especially people who insist on having trucks, in order to get that kind of range out of a truck, it's got to have an enormous gas tank. And they do, you know, some of them have 25-gallon or maybe even 30-gallon gas tanks. But to achieve the kind of range that people expect, it suffers in other ways. So that truck that people insist on putting a V8 in, having at least hundreds of miles of range, so they can, I don't know, drive across country with a boat in tow, it takes forever to fill up. And for some people, it costs, what? Why would you do that? That was a weird way to take that corner. Depending on gas prices and, you know, when you're filling up, I know people who complain about it costing almost $100 or over $100 to fill their truck. EVs are the same thing because a lot of people also obsess over how quickly a vehicle can charge. And while on one hand it does push innovation, and that's a cool thing, seeing this technology develop right before our eyes due to consumer demand, if you cram more battery cells into a vehicle to get more range, what you end up with is a vehicle that takes longer to charge. That's my kid. You end up with a vehicle that takes longer to charge because it's got more battery cells. I would love to see a top 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars in front of me. If I pass these 4, that's podium. I don't think I can pass these 4. But oh boy, am I going to try. Let's keep the pedal down, roll through this one. Now this chicane can be a little complicated. I touch the wall there. Cross. I don't know. I didn't get a track limit penalty. I don't know what position I'm in right now. I'm gonna brake late, take this tighter, deal with the understeer. I got bumped. Probably my fault, but I got bumped. Oh, these tires are not happy to be here. But, go, go, go. That is 3rd place for me. I will take a podium on a crit of 15 in a silly little EV. I'm not mad about that. That is something worth celebrating. I don't know. Again, I think these cars are interesting, and I would own one, but I don't think I'll ever get the opportunity to own one. So,